Now the news in detail. Dozens of people have been wounded after Israeli forces stormed the Al-Aqsa mosque compound yet again. The latest violence comes as occupied East Jerusalem braces for a planned Jewish nationalist march through the city later today. More in this report. As the tensions boil over forced eviction of Palestinians from their homes and mounting violence by Israel. Leaders around the world have expressed concern and urged restraint. The UN Security Council is set to discuss the worsening situation in the occupied Palestinian territories today. Ahead of the Security Council meet, Secretary General Antonio Guterres said Tel Aviv must respect the right to freedom of peaceful assembly. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan also expressed serious concerns to his Israeli counterpart about violent clashes. In today's violence, the occupying troops fired rubber bullets, tear gas and stun grenades at Palestinian worshippers. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said more than 180 Palestinians were injured in the violence. The clashes have raised international concern. Meanwhile, Israel's Attorney General has secured a deferment of a court hearing on planned eviction of Palestinians in the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood. The Israeli Supreme Court had been due to hear appeals against the planned evictions of several Palestinian families today.
The Jews did not change their minds. They have the same strategy. They want to evict Palestinians. They are looking for a way to evict Palestinians. The way they had available to them was blocked. Now they are looking for a different way. But we are sitting here in our country, in our land. We will not give up.
In an act of clear incitement, Israelis will march later tonight through different neighborhoods of Jerusalem, including the Muslim quarters under police protection. Experts have warned the march would lead to an escalation of hostilities and insisted that the march be cancelled. 11 people have been killed after their bus hit a roadside bomb in Afghanistan's southern Kabul province. A provincial governor's spokesman said 25 people, including women and children, were injured. The Interior Ministry has blamed the Taliban for placing the bomb. Meanwhile, medics say 2 civilians have been killed and 9 more wounded in a roadside blast in the Parwan province. No group has so far claimed responsibility for the attacks. The Taliban have declared a 3-day ceasefire across Afghanistan to mark this week's Eid al-Fitr holiday. However, they have warned against any assault, saying they are ready to defend themselves and their territory. In a tweet, Taliban spokesman Mohammed Naeem said the group's fighters have been instructed to cease all nationwide operations. The government chief negotiator Abdullah Abdullah welcomed the announcement but called it inconsequential in the long term. In a tweet, he called on the Taliban to agree to a permanent ceasefire and seek a just settlement to the war. The development comes just 2 days after bombings outside a school killed at least 68 and wounded over 165 others. UK's Chief of Defence Staff General Sir Nicholas Patrick Carter appreciated Pakistan's efforts for peace and stability in the region. In a meeting with Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa in Rawalpindi, General Patrick also lauded Islamabad's role in the Afghan peace process. During the meeting, matters of mutual interest and measures to further enhance bilateral and defense cooperation were discussed. Military's media wing said the two also discussed the regional security situation, particularly current developments in the Afghan peace process. General Bajwa thanked the dignitary for UK's contribution towards the fight against COVID-19 in Pakistan. He said that Pakistan Army greatly values its friendly relations with the UK. Iran has confirmed publicly for the first time that it is in talks with Saudi Arabia to de-escalate tensions. At a press briefing, Foreign Ministry spokesman Saeed Khatibzadeh said Tehran will do what it can to resolve issues between the two sides. Khatibzadeh said de-escalation of tensions between the two Muslim countries is in the interest of both nations and the region. A Saudi Foreign Ministry official had told Reuters last week that talks between the rival countries were aimed at reducing regional tensions. However, he had cautioned that it was too early to judge the outcome and Riyadh wanted to see verifiable deeds. India has recorded more than 366,000 COVID-19 infections and over 3,700 deaths overnight. The COVID-19 crisis in India is worsening, with infection rates in some parts of the country are soaring. The positivity rate in the coastal state of Goa has surged to more than 50%. Experts have warned that the situation in neighboring Nepal is set on the same track, with infection rates running high. Brazil recorded nearly 39,000 more confirmed cases in the past 24 hours and over 1,000 fatalities from COVID-19. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is set to reveal plans to lift parts of the COVID-19 lockdown today. Qatar also decided to gradually lifting coronavirus-related measures in 4 phases, starting the first phase on May 28. Globally, the virus has claimed nearly 3.3 million lives, with the infections tally approaching 158 million. In Pakistan, 78 more have died from COVID-19 overnight as the death count approaches 19,000. The Health Ministry said more than 3,400 people contracted the virus over the past 24 hours. It said the countrywide tally of confirmed cases has crossed 861,000, out of which over 762,000 patients have recovered. The number of active cases has declined to 80,000, with over 4,900 critical. According to the Health Ministry, the positivity rate of new cases is 9.12%. 4 people have been wounded in a stabbing attack at a supermarket in New Zealand's southern Dunedin city. 3 of those stabbed have sustained life-threatening injuries. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said there is not enough evidence that links the act to terrorism. Ardern said such attacks are, however, hugely concerning, while sympathizing with the wounded and their families. New Zealand police detained the alleged assailant immediately after the attack. Police said the motive for the assault was not yet known. In the U.S. state of Colorado, at least 7 people have been killed after a gunman opened fire at a birthday party. Police say the shooting happened just after midnight in a mobile home park on the east side of Colorado Springs. In a statement, the police said the suspect killed himself after fatally shooting the victims, including his girlfriend. But he did not fire on traumatized children who were present at the occasion. The police say the motive behind the shooting is yet to be determined. The incident is the latest in a resurgence of mass shootings in the U.S. and comes a day after 4 people were killed in Baltimore. In Myanmar, despite continuing violence against anti-coup protests, activists have yet again taken to the streets against the military rulers. In Davi, residents organized a white shirt campaign in protest at the military regime. Meanwhile, another Myanmar poet, Khaed Thai, whose works declared resistance to the ruling junta, has died in army detention. His family said T was severely tortured and his body returned with the organs removed. UN reporter Tom Andrews condemned the incident and expressed solidarity with the Burmese under siege. The Assistance Association for Political Prisoners activist group says the military has killed over 780 civilians since the February 1st coup. South Korean President Moon Jae-in says he is looking forward to North Korea's response to engagement efforts. He was speaking at an event held to mark his 4th year in presidency. President Moon reiterated that Seoul will do everything in its power to return to the days of engagement. The president said he will not be impatient and will wait for Pyongyang's response. He termed his final year in office the last opportunity to make progress, adding it is time to take action. Moon's remarks come ahead of his first summit with U.S. President Joe Biden in Washington on May 21st. He is expected to push the U.S. to seek engagement despite North Korea showing few signs of interest. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas said the EU is ready for talks with Russia. He was speaking at an EU foreign ministers meeting in Brussels to review multiple issues, including the EU's policy towards Russia. Maas added that the EU should not go out of the way in advocating the alleged human rights abuses in Moscow. Moreover, Slovakia's Foreign Minister Ivan Korčok said the EU should discontinue the negative trend of ties with Moscow. Korčok added there are fundamental issues, but they do not wish further escalation between Russia and the EU. The U.S. government has issued an emergency legislation after the country's largest pipeline was hit by a ransomware cyber attack. The pipeline carrying 45% of East Coast diesel supply was completely knocked off and still remained largely shut down. The Department of Transportation issued a temporary waiver, enabling fuel to be transported by road. A total of 18 states have been granted the waiver for transportation of gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products. However, it is not enough to match the pipeline's capacity. The hackers allegedly took almost 100 GB of data hostage and are demanding a ransom. A small MINKE whale has been freed after it became stranded along the River Thames in southwest London. Hundreds gathered at Richmond Lock and Weir as the whale became stuck on the lock's boat rollers. It was initially hosed down by a man at the river's edge. Rescuers from the Royal National Lifeboat Institution later arrived on the scene to save the animal. It was successfully moved to a safer location nearly 4 hours later. Elon Musk SpaceX is planning to send a satellite to the moon paid under a contract entirely with the cryptocurrency Dogecoin. Musk tweeted that SpaceX will launch the Doge-1 satellite next year. Musk said that Dogecoin will be the first cryptocurrency and the first meme in space. The Canadian company Geometric Energy Corporation that owns the satellite says it will be launched in the first quarter of 2022. The satellite will be sent using the Falcon 9 launch vehicle for data collection on the moon. After Musk's announcement, the value of Dogecoin went up to $0.58 apiece. Welcome back. European stocks are trading mixed as investors await the prospect of lower interest rates for longer on the back of subsiding inflationary pressures. Italy's FTSE MIB is leading gains, adding over 0.5%. London's FTSE and the Pan-European Stock 600 have also edged up fractionally. However, Frankfurt's DAX and the CAC 40 in Paris have dipped. In cricket, Pakistan beat Zimbabwe by an innings and 147 runs in the final test to whitewash the two-match series. Shaheen Shah Afridi and Noman Ali took 5 wickets each, restricting Zimbabwe to 231 in their second innings. In their first innings, the hosts were bowled out for 132 runs, failing to avert a follow-on. Pakistan had declared their first innings at 510 for 8 on day 2. In tennis, Alexander Zverev has overpowered Italy's Matteo Berrettini to win the Madrid Open title for a second time. Zverev beat Berrettini 6-7, 6-4, 6-3 in the final to claim his 4th Masters 1000 crown. Playing in his maiden ATP 1000 final, Berrettini showed no sign of nerves and took the seesawing opening set. In football, Hertha Berlin and Arminia Bielefeld's relegation battle has ended with a goalless draw in the German Bundesliga. The draw leaves Bielefeld on 16th place with 31 points, leveled on points with 14th placed Hertha.
Bielefeld had better chances throughout, but missed twice on the opportunity to find the net. Meanwhile, Real Madrid missed the chance to top La Liga after drawing 2-2 at home to Sevilla. The draw leaves Atletico Madrid in first place with 77 points, followed by Real on second with 75. In English Premier League, West Bromwich Albion have been relegated for a fifth time after suffering a 3-1 loss to Arsenal. The Gunners have climbed to ninth place with 52 points, 11 behind fourth-placed Leicester City. In other matches, Manchester United beat Aston Villa 3-1, while Wolverhampton Wanderers edged Brighton 2-1. Elsewhere, AC Milan thrashed Juventus 3-0 to ascend to third place in Serie A.
Now it's time to have a look at the weather update across the globe. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at indus.news.